Today is 23rd of November 2024, and I'm going to take your mock session of Oxford ELLT. Before moving on, let me tell you that there are four parts in the Oxford speaking module. The first one is introduction, second one is presentation, third is essay, and the fourth one is picture description. My name is Sitara Farooq. Could you please tell me what is your full name?
Ma'am, my full name is Muhammad Saeed.
Okay, Muhammad Saeed, if you could relay yourself.
Ma'am, thank you so much, ma'am. My name is Muhammad Saeed. My father name is Momin Khan. I was born in 2 February 2002. About my family, my father is a businessman. My mother is a homemaker. About myself, I start my early education from my hometown, from the school of Bright Hall Public High School. And then I complete my matriculation from that school. And further, I continue my enter from the Peace College, Charsadda.
Okay, Muhammad Saeed, my next question for you is what do you do in your leisure time?
Kindly, ma'am, repeat your question.
What do you do in your free time?
Ma'am, in my free time, I play a cricket with my friends. I am a good batsman, and in my free time watching the movies, and ma'am also use a social media, mobile phone. That's enough, ma'am.
Okay, what are your future goals?
My future goals is, ma'am, to be clear, ma'am, recently I am going to UK for my bachelor, then I complete my MSc from BBP University. And if I completed that important degree, I get back to my home country and I find a deserved job for himself. Ma'am, this is very standard. The university of the UK is very standard, and if I completed MSc from that university, then I find a desired job for himself, like ma'am, a project manager and management GM, etc. Ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Said. So moving on towards the second part, that is a presentation. So could you please tell me what was the topic of your presentation?
Ma'am, the topic of my presentation is that, ma'am, today in nowadays the families are very mm, the disappearing of a meal together of families, ma'am.
All right. Before moving on, let me give you some instructions. When you are going to start your presentation, you have to say, now I begin my presentation. When you are going to end the presentation, you have to say, thank you for listening to me. And your presentation should be for about 3 to 5 minutes, not less than 3 minutes and not more than 5 minutes. You can start now.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to explain. Now, I will begin my presentation, ma'am. The presentation is today that there are different countries and different families are not uh, eat a meal together and before a days there are, ma'am, different people and different that they eat together a meal, families, ma'am. But nowadays, ma'am, there are a lot of family that they didn't not eat together because there are a lot of reason that they does not eat together. The first, ma'am, I will explain this in the advantage and disadvantage. Ma'am, the advantages of this is that in the before families there are a lot of bond between themselves if they eat together and, ma'am, they can share their ideas and their futures with each other. And, ma'am, the other thing that the culture shifting, ma'am, that they can explain his cultures and his family issues with one person in his life, they can explain with each other. But, ma'am, in nowadays there are lackness of these things that ma'am the first thing and ma'am the first thing of this is that due to use of technologies, the people use technologies, that's why they cannot give a time to himself, his families, his friends, and ma'am the other thing is there that uh, the other thing is there that ma'am life is very busy in nowadays. There are a lot of problem creating due to this reason, and ma'am the on the other hand ma'am there are a lot of advantages of that the person can free with himself, give a time to his exercise, and they can anytime go for anywhere, like for like per ma'am trips, like per tours they can go without asking anyone. And ma'am on the other hand, if we see that the conclusion of this is that ma'am that this is not good for all people, because together eating a meal and eating anything is very important for our families, because they create they create ideas for each other, and ma'am there are also respect for each other, and there is some bond between the family member with each other. Thank you so much, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. C. Now moving on to the third part, that is essay. So could you please tell me what was the topic of your essay?
Ma'am, I can't hear you. Hello.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Hello.
Gigi, hello?
I can't hear you, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, I hear you now.
Okay. Could you please tell me what was the topic of your essay?
Ma'am, the topic of my essay is in nowadays in Manitoba in Canada, that recently voted for Web Kenyu, who was born in 1890. And the people are very very surprising for a millennial, for changing. And in my opinion, ma'am, the topic of my essay is there that what is your opinion? Explain the advantage or disadvantage of a young leaders.
All right. My next question from you is, Mr. Say, that if you were given a second chance to write an essay on your own topic, so which topic would you select and why?
Ma'am, if you give me another chance for my essay or presentation, ma'am.
Essay.
For essay, then I will be making an essay for social media, because ma'am nowadays there are very a lot of advantage and disadvantage of social media, and ma'am I think this is very good for me.
All right. My third question from you is, Mr. Saeed, that if you got some extra time, so what extra information would you add to the existing essay?
Ma'am, if you give me a chance, or give me words that allow me for to addition in this essay, ma'am, is there that no recently, ma'am, in our area is the uh, politician. His name is uh, Sultan Fazal. He is a young leader, and ma'am, all of the youngster are with him, and ma'am, he are very. This is I will add this for example, because the youngster are very, ma'am, are very add for him, because ma'am he is a very good person, and ma'am he is use a lot of, ma'am, a new modern technologies to improve himself, to explore, ma'am, opportunity for a pupil. And also, ma'am, another reason of this is that ma'am, millennial generation politician are very good for nowadays politician, because ma'am this is nowadays this is a modern world and a modern life, and the old version of politician are thinking about the old system, and nowadays he cannot understand that, ma'am.
Alright, my next question from you is there is a sentence in your essay having a young leader includes relatability. Can you explain this sentence? Let me repeat the sentence. Having a young leader includes relatability.
Relatability, ma'am, this mean, ma'am, that it is unsurprising because, ma'am, I cannot understand your sentence but only one word.
I asked you that having a young leader includes relatability. So can you explain this sentence?
Yes, ma'am, this mean that, ma'am, he is, ma'am, likely the people like him, and he is unsurprising, unexceptional, ma'am, for a youngster.
Okay, it leads to creating better policies for young. So, can you give me any example of related to this sentence? It leads to creating better policies for young.
Yes, ma'am. The example of this is that, ma'am, that he is, ma'am, that any politician in the any system, the politician can have the quality that he is burnout. He is not tired for any complex problem difficulties. Like, ma'am, this is I think this is the disadvantage of. I write that sentence in the disadvantage of the young leader, because, ma'am, the young leader have not the quality. He has burnout urgently from the, like, the difficult problem. No, ma'am,
All
nowadays.
right. There is another sentence that it arises questions and resistance from older generations. Can you give me the synonym of resistance?
Yes, ma'am. There are, ma'am, that the old generation thinking about that he have not the quality of creativity and competence. That's why, ma'am, he is questioned on the millennial generation, and he said that he has not the quality of the politician system. That's why, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Saeed. Now moving on towards the last part. So let me share the screen with you. That is picture description. I'll show you a picture and you have to look to that picture for about 15 seconds. And then you have to describe or give me the
Okay.
description for that picture. Okay, and at the end of the session, I'll be asking some of the questions related to the picture.
Okay.
Okay, so can I see the picture? Mr. Saeed, can you see the picture?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have 15 seconds and then you have to describe the picture.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so you can describe it now, Mr. Saeed.
Okay, ma'am. I see, ma'am, in this picture that, ma'am, one monkey and one boys. The boys wear a black shirt, and, ma'am, behind this, I think this is a forest, and there are a lot of, ma'am, trees in this forest, and the person giving something to the monkey, ma'am.
Alright, so my question from you is that why do most of the people keep wild animals as their pet animals at their home?
Ma'am, kindly repeat your question.
My question is that most of the people keep wild animal as pet animals. So is it safe?
Ma'am, in my opinion, that this is not safe because, ma'am, we cannot, ma'am, trust on any animal because he has no mind, and he has no mindset. He can do anything with any people. And, ma'am, in recently in our area, one of the person was uh, was enjoying with his dogs, and I think the dog was lose his mind. Then he has eat them, and no, ma'am, there are a lot of difficulties created for him. No, and no, ma'am, he is in hospital. That's why, in my opinion, that it is not safe for the people, ma'am.
All right. My next question from you is that do you have any pet?
What, ma'am?
Do you have any pet?
No, ma'am, I have no any fear.
Okay, if you got a chance to keep a pet animal, like a wild animal as a pet, so will you keep it?
Yes, ma'am. I like, ma'am, a dog, but every person has his own thinking that, ma'am. But I love dogs because he is a very loyal. And that if the life give me an opportunity for I like, ma'am, dogs.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Faith. That's the end of your mock session. We will get back to you soon.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Have a nice day, ma'am.
Have a nice